And it's not even just the sciences and the math. Think about the philosophy. I mean, how much is there to learn from reading Aristotle or Plato, Socrates when you disagree with them? I mean, how many giants have there been in all of human history that have had the minds of a Socrates, a Plato, and an Aristotle? 1,000 years will they look back at Plato and Aristotle and admire them? Absolutely. Will they find certain things that are wrong? Yes, but certain things that Aristotle discovered are absolutely right and will always be right. Certain things that Ayn Rand discovered will always be right. I think a lot of what she came up with, will some things be discovered to be wrong? Yeah. That wouldn't shock me. But the genius and the truth of that we know today is amazing. It's stunning. To be pessimistic about us because in the future we'll know more.
Not pessimistic, but more humble.
There's no reason to be humble. I mean, I really think humility is a vice, not a virtue. What's there to be humble about? Look at life. This is amazing.
But the word humble has a different meaning.
I know.
Okay.
I was going to get. I mean, humility in a sense of, not appreciating the genius and the ability and the success and all the stuff that we as individuals, I think, in our lives, but as a culture, as a movement, if you think about movement in terms of those of us who respect reason, have achieved in spite of the odds, we should be proud of that. And pride is the virtue. Humility in the sense of, yeah, I know there's more to know. I know there's a lot more to know, and in the future we'll know more. Sure, but I don't think that's the way. See, I take humility as the way the Christians use it, which is the other way, and I think it's a real vice. It's don't think of yourself too much. Just because you can think, that's no big deal, or just because you can create this stuff. It is a big deal. Your achievements are a big deal, and you should take credit for them. So be careful with the word humility, because the real meaning is the Christian meaning, which is a very, very bad meaning.
Well, hold on. Let me be a little pedantic, because there's no such thing as real meaning, right? So there's different meanings. Okay, hold on. This is semantics, but here's another real meaning that you're not going to disagree with.
Sure.
Which is the smartest person on earth is ignorant of 99.9% of knowledge, right? Yes. So if I meet someone who is less intelligent than me and less informed than me, it is still certain that this person has things to teach me. If I go to a mechanic and maybe this guy's dumb as rocks, I don't know anything about cars. What he tells me about that car is good. I could take it to the bank. He's going to be in a position to inform me. So one of the reasons humility is extremely important is very often you have people, and you see this very much in academia, who think, you know exactly where I'm going, Yaron, who think they're know-it-alls. And they think, oh, I have this degree. You're a layman. You've never been formally educated. Therefore, not only are you dumb and uneducated, and you're wrong. And it's like, this person might have one great example of this, and this is an example Yaron might not like, is a lot of times you have these native populations, and they'll have a better understanding of the animals around them, the plants, the fruits, whatever. And you'd have these scientists and be like, oh, they're talking about this monster in the woods. Yeah, whatever, this giant ape. But it was real. It was the gorilla. But, you dismiss them because, these are stupid, ignorant, whatever people. That's kind of changed to some extent. But that is an aspect of humility that I think behooves especially highly intelligent people, because there is such a presumption to be dismissive of people who you regard as less than. But they're often right.
So I agree with all of the concrete examples. I just think we should come up with a better word than humility, and I don't have one because I'm not a wordsmith. This is not my strength. But humility is a word from the Christian ethics, and it means something very specific in the field of ethics, and it means the opposite of what I think virtue requires. Right? It's demeaning. It's to put you down. It's to resist pride, and I think pride is a very important thing.
I don't know, Yaron.
But again, you have to define your terms properly.
Hating myself has been quite useful for me as a.
Well, but that's because you're Russian and Jewish. So by
what? This changes everything.
This is what happens, right? We're brought up to feel exactly that way.
Lex has been a good Russian boy, so we got him.
Oh my God!
What is this? Gemat again. What is this?
Gemat again?
What is that? What it says?
Yeah, it's Gemat again. I can't. I'm blind.
This is for you.
Yeah, but
as long as you're good, Russian machik, we have candy.
But is it kosher? Did you check if it's kosher?
This is Ukrainian, my friend.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
That is a
How
sin.
dare you?
That is really sinful.
You know, Misa and I were born in the same town.
I'm kidding. My dad's Ukrainian. Don't get mad.
So I don't think self. What did you? How did you define it?
Self-hate.
Yeah, I think I think self-hate
When I
is
look in the
quite
mirror.
destructive.
Speak for yourself,
I
Yaron.
think that humility is quite destructive. Humility in the
Interesting.
sense of
Interesting.
I'm no big deal. No, I mean if you've achieved something in life, you are a big deal, and you are a big deal because look, you got the two of us to fly into town just to sit down here and have a conversation with you. You're a big deal.
That says more about you than me.
Yeah, exactly. We're just
We're
lonely.
desperate.
We're lonely and depraved.
I'm not lonely. I might be desperate.
I'm starting to question your ability to reason with the decisions you're making. On the aspect of, and I should mention that The Idiot by Dostoevsky is one of my favorite novels, and there is a Christian ethic that runs through that.
I mean, because particularly, but I hate to bring this up, but particularly Russians and particularly Russian Jews and particularly Eastern European Jews are incredibly Christian. There's a real Christian theme in Judaism that's about guilt. Guilt is not. There's no guilt in Judaism. King David doesn't feel any guilt. Solomon doesn't. There's no guilt in the Old Testament. Plenty of guilt once Christianity has an impact on Judaism. We're raised to feel this way. We're raised to be humble. We're raised not to feel special. We're raised to think we're no big deal, and our mothers put us down, and use that against us, and try to inflict guilt on us. They raise us up and then they knock us down. It's a mechanism, but it's a cultural mechanism, and I think it's very destructive to self-esteem and to happiness.
I'll give you a great. He's absolutely right with what he just said.
I
Because
disagree. Well, yeah, why is he right?
Because like my family, for example, still doesn't really understand how I could pay the rent because I don't go into an office. And like when I started out trying to be a writer, the immediate reaction isn't, which is a lot of times I talk to kids, right? And they have these aspirations, and I'll tell them, go for it while you're young. If you fail, you'll go to your grave with like, I tried my best, I didn't make it happen. Whereas if you don't try and never achieve, you are going to feel horrible for the rest of your life. And this is the example I use all the time. I bring up many times. I go to any bookstore and look at all those terrible, terrible books on the shelves that you wonder, how's this a book? That could be you.
Yep.
You could be that crappy writer. But the thing is, in that culture that Yaron was talking about, you tell your family, I'm going to be a writer. Who do you think you are? Why do you think you're going to be? You're no Stephen King. And it's like, why do you have to be Stephen King? Yeah. Why can't you just be a mediocre, crappy writer making the rent?
The best that you can be.
But
right?
even that is an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I don't have to go to an office and I write books that not that many people read, this is the story of my life. At the same time, I do have pride because I made this happen.
You can be the best version. I mean, this is a cliche, but you can be the best version of yourself. It's not a competition. And yet our Jewish mothers, that's not what they aspire us to be. They aspire us to be the best version of what they imagine, what the culture imagines, what society imagine, not what's. It's not about you in their minds, and I've seen it. I see it all around me. People putting their kids down, putting themselves down. It's not healthy.
I've never told this story. I'm going to tell it now. When I graduated college, I was a temp for a while because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Right, and when you're a temp, it's like playing roulette. You're going to have jobs that pay well, that suck, and pay well, that are great, or that are great that don't pay well, and suck and pay poorly. But it's you, when you're 21, you have that kind of space. And my grandmother was talking to her brother. He's talking about his kids. She's talking about me. She's from Odessa, and she told me she lied to him about how much money I was making. And that's something I've never brought up, and it still hurts me because it's like your approval of me should be a function of my character, my happiness, and the fact that you feel ashamed over how much money I'm making, especially at this point in my life, I thought was very really misplaced priorities.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I think there's a huge benefit to the humility, terms aside, for believing that others can teach you a lot. Everybody can teach you a lot.
We all agree on
I just mentioned that the mechanic.
No,
we
you
all
do
agree
exactly
Yeah.
the point. But for that, I do believe you have to not constantly sort of break your ego apart and constantly question whether you know anything about this world, and sort of there's a negativity with it that I think is very useful, and it's also very fulfilling. Just constantly, I don't know.
It's the other way around. I find that the more I know, the easier it is for me to learn from other people. The broader a context I have, the more curious I become, the more areas I know. You know, it's true that the more you know, the more areas you know you don't know. And the more I find myself attracted to people who can teach me something about things I don't know. Whereas if I was ignorant, if I truly believed I didn't know anything, I don't know how I would live. It would really completely challenge everything about life for me. Where would I even start? You wouldn't know where to start. So no, I think, and if you don't recognize what you know, you don't have a full appreciation of yourself. So really building a recognition of what do I know, right? And how much do I know is really crucial to living.
And I'll tell you something else that furthers my life enormously is when you reach a certain point in your career, in your life, and you're talking to people who are a lot younger, and they might be smart, driven, intelligent, they lack data. When you're 23, you don't know how to speak corporate. You don't know what the code words are. So if I am in a position to sit down with this kid and be like, do X, Y, and Z, and here's why I'm coming to this conclusion. This is the information that reached me to this conclusion. And I can save them from some of the suffering I went through. That is very gratifying. It's making the world a better place. And it's also the opposite in a sense of humility, because like in this context,
I'm an expert.
Or I'm at least knowledgeable enough that I'm comfortable giving you advice.
Yeah, and look, everything I do is about me knowing stuff that other people don't. And I know a lot of stuff other people don't, and I do. And it's fun. I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher at heart, always have been. It turns out I didn't know that early on. But, I like becoming an expert and then trying to teach people. It doesn't mean I know everything. Quite the contrary. Again, the more I know that there's certain things I don't know and there's certain areas of expertise I don't have. But look, pride is a broader concept than that. Pride is about, and humility is the opposite of pride. And Christianity has that right. Pride is about taking your life seriously. Pride is about wanting to be really good at living, wanting to have the knowledge. And I think what you're describing is I'm constantly learning. Sometimes I have to challenge myself. I have to question what I believed in order to gain new knowledge. That's all good, but that is a drive that is driven by pride. You want to know. There are lots of people out there that don't want to know because they don't have that pride. They don't have that commitment to live, the commitment to achieving something.
And I'm going to say something else that I think is crucial. Humility is extremely important when it comes to politics, because if you feel comfortable telling someone you've never met how to live their life, that is a complete lack of humility.
Well, I lack it, obviously, because I tell people how to live all the time.
Not through the force.
Not through
That's
force,
what I'm saying.
and of course not in the concrete. I don't tell them, move to. Although I do tell them to move to Austin, but I don't tell them this is what you do as a profession. But I give them the principles because I think they're principles
they're
of how to
making
live.
the choice. That's my point.
No,
politically, what I'm saying is it shows a lack of humility to be like, I've never met this person. This is how I'm going to take money from him. I'm going to.
See, but I don't see that's humility. There's nothing.
No, it's the lack of humility.
No, but it's not even a lack of humility because it's.
Who am I to tell him how to live?
No,
that's
of course
lack
you're
of
not.
Humility.
No, who are you to tell him how to live is an issue of, it's an issue of force and rights and a bunch of different things. I don't think it's a lack of humility there. I think it's a lack of being a human being.
It could be both.
Sure. I think it's who gives you the right to dictate to somebody else how to live their lives.
Yeah, but that's a lack of humility if you think you have that right.
Again, we're using humility in a very different way.
No, we're using the same way. Because the person who feels comfortable, they think, I know better than you how you should live your life, to the point where I'm comfortable forcing you because I know it's going to be best for you in the long run.
And the answer is you don't know.
Right, but that's a lack of humility.
I think in your mind, Yaron, humility is somehow tied to the Christian concept of humility, and so you're kind of allergic to the word.
Well, absolutely, because it's part of. If you look at the cardinal virtues, the cardinal sins in Christianity, pride is a cardinal sin, and humility is a cardinal virtue. But they don't mean it in this sense because they're happy to tell you how to live. Right? They're happy to be philosopher kings over your life, and they believe that's being humble. And you should be humble, by the way, in listening to the Pope or listening to God, because what do you know? You know nothing. God knows everything, so you should shut up and do what you're told. That's the sense in which I don't think you should be humble. I mean, it's a sense in which I always use the example of Abraham, right? God comes to Abraham and says, go kill your eldest son. Your only son, right? Your only son, go kill him. It's like, and what does Abraham do? He says, yes, sir. I'll follow. And he's a moral hero for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. He is a moral hero because he follows orders, because he's humble. I would tell God to go to hell. Screw you. I'm not killing my son.
But
there's no way.
I mean, he killed his son, so it's only fair.
Well, this is before he killed his son, so I didn't know that, right? But part of the evil of Christianity is that he's killed his son in the most torturous form of death possible. I mean, the whole story of Jesus is one of the most immoral, unjust stories ever told. And that Christians elevate this to a position of, I'd love to have this conversation with Jordan, right? Jordan Peterson. But the idea of elevating...
That'll never happen.
No, it won't. But elevating Jesus to a superhero status for one of the most immoral acts in human history is horrific. So, yeah, I mean, I'm opposed to God sacrificing his own son, never mind my son. But let him go do it to his own son.
But he didn't kill Isaac, he killed the goat.
The story's about Abraham, not about God. First of all, God is mean, right, to put Abraham through that. But Abraham has to assume that he's going to kill his son, and he's going to do it. And he stopped. So the whole point is obedience. That's what humility leads to. It leads to the opposite of the story you were telling. It leads to people saying, yes, I should be told what to do. Where's the authority who actually knows something? Because I don't know anything. No, I know a lot, and I know a lot about my life. So you stay away from my life because I have pride in my life.
The science is settled, right? Look at these experts. Who am I to argue with these experts? They tell me to drink dog pee. I'm going to drink. What am I going to not drink dog pee?
Yes.
Yeah.